Hi there. This is Ray Glasser speaking to you from Cleveland, Ohio in mid-June of 1980. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of the famous Japanese Betamax, the model SL-J7. I'm proud to say that I'm one of the few owners in this country of an SL-J7, and I thought I'd show you on videotape what the machine looks like, what it can do, and what the special effects of the machine look like. So what we're going to do now in the next 10 minutes or so, guided tour of the J7 and show you what it can do. It's about the same size as the SL-5400 and the SL-5600 Betamaxes, but as you can see, it's quite radically designed differently from those machines. Very, very futuristic looking and full of features. We're going to go from the left to the right of the machine and show you what this whole thing is about. Up here is the power on button with a green pilot light. Below that is the power off, and over here is the timer button with a red pilot light. You can only timer record on this machine. You cannot play back on the timer like you can on some American Betamaxes. Over here is a 24-hour digital clock in military time. Above that are the days of the week in Japanese, from Sunday to Saturday. This over here is Monday with the red light right below it. Now you can't see this, but above the clock it's a door that opens up, and below that door are a whole bunch of other controls for the clock and the timer settings. You have a turn on time, a turn off time, a switch for the clock itself to make it dim or bright. There's a resettable setting for the volt of the machine for either 50 or 60 cycles, since different parts of Japan have either 50 or 60 cycles in that part of the country. Let's go now to the function buttons. Over here is eject with a light. This is rewind with a pilot light. Stop, play, fast forward. This is record. And over here are two lights to indicate what speed you're recording at, either beta 1 or beta 2. This, of course, is a one-touch record button. Over here is pause. These, of course, are all solenoid-controlled buttons. Now, below your play button is your triple-speed playback button with a pilot light. Below the record button is a one-touch audio dub button with a pilot light. Below your pause button is a frame-by-frame playback button. By depressing this button, you get one frame every 2 seconds. Below that is a lever for your slow motion. On the far left, where it's at now, is a still frame. To the far right is half-speed playback, and you have the option of controlling the speed in between over here. Above this lever over here is your VTR or TV switch. That's to free your TV so you can watch a second channel while you tape the first channel. Up here are your beta scan buttons, which Sony in Japan calls picture search. This is your rewind beta scan. This is your forward beta scan. Now these work when you're in the play mode. When you're in play, just tap these buttons and hold them down and you get the beta scan effect. Over here is the internal tuner with the machine. At one time we all thought that this tuner is inoperative here, which is quite in error. I can get all channels in Cleveland except channel 3. That's too low for this particular tuner, but I can get everything from 5 and above. Now to change the channels, there's a sliding thing over here that pulls out, and of course Sony gives you the numbers to put inside here, and that's how you change the channel numbers on the machine. Now above the tuner is a door that opens up where all your tuning controls are. Of course this is all in Japanese, which my wife can read but I can't, but if you play with these tuning controls enough, you can get the proper channels for whatever you want. Right below the slow motion lever over here is another door that opens up to reveal even some more controls. Tape alarm. When this switch is up in this position and your tape hits the end of the tape, you get a beeping sound that goes about 10 times, kind of like the alarm on your digital watch. And after this beeping sound is over, your tape kicks in a rewind automatically. This is on, this is off. Next to that is your cue indexing control. When you're timer recording something, and this control is up like it is right now, your tape will stop when the recording began when you're in rewind or forward, kind of like a secondary memory switch. This is on and this is off. Over here is your BNR for beta noise reduction. This is kind of like Dolby. When this switch is up like it is right now, this will cut off the tape hiss on your audio track, which will give you a little bit cleaner audio sound. That's on and that's off. These three controls here are for stereo, since parts of Japan do have stereo TV. This first one is for playback. This is stereo playback in the far up position. The middle position is left channel only. Bottom position is for right channel only. Next to that is a record stereo switch. Again, top is stereo, middle is left channel, bottom is right channel. and here's a light up here to indicate that you are receiving a stereo broadcast. On the far right is an auto stereo button. In the up position, you'll get stereo automatically when the program is being broadcast in stereo, at which time this light comes on. In the bottom position is totally monaural. Over here is a dual lamp, kind of like the VHS machines. When the room is too hot or too humid, this light comes on by itself and the Betamax will not function. Down here are even some more controls. Over here is the tracking control, which has a wider range of tracking than the American Betamaxes I've used. Next to that is your speed control for record. On the left is X1, on the right is X2. Over here are two microphone jacks, standard 1/4-inch phone plugs for your left and right channels. Over here are your inputs. Here are your stereo audio inputs, white for your left channel and red for your right channel. This is your video input control. And next to that is a 3-position input selector. The far left is for video in, which activates this for your dubbing. In the middle is for your tuner. And when that is on, your tuner comes on. Your lights come on for your channels when it's in that position. On the far right is for your camera, which is right over here. This is a 14-pin camera jack. This is the remote control that comes with the J7. It's very, very light, and this is the RM77. Now, first of all, as you can see up here, Sony has put on a plastic covering to shield the record button from being pressed by accident. So when this is up in this position, you cannot wipe out your previous recording accidentally. What you have here on top is a record button with a pilot light. Now you have fast forward, rewind, stop, play, triple speed playback, pause with a pilot light, frame by frame, and beta scan, forward and reverse, all on this remote control. And again, this comes with the J7. And that's just about it. Okay. Two more things I should add. Number one, the J7 plays back on Japanese channel 1 or 2. That's what the built-in modulator is geared for, since it is a Japanese machine. So you have two options. You have to either play back the J7 through a second Betamax, like I'm doing right now, or have the internal RF modulator replaced with a standard American modulator to play back in either channel 3 or 4. And lastly, the J7 is made to operate on 100 volts, which is what Japan has for their TV system. So what I had to do was get a voltage regulator to step down our current from 110 down to 100, and that cost about $50. So the J7 is a nice machine, but there are a couple little inconveniences to using it, if you're willing to put up with them, which I am. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the short tour of the J7 as much as I've enjoyed doing this camera tape to you. So until next time, Ray Glasser from Cleveland, Ohio, saying so long, take care.